The unimaginable has just happened, and it feels like the earth itself has stopped spinning. Lil Scrappy, one of hip-hop's most iconic figures and the beating heart of Atlanta's reality TV drama, has been rushed to the intensive care unit in critical condition. This is not a rumor. This is not gossip. This is a full-blown nightmare unraveling in real time. Sirens, flashing lights, and desperate screams filled the night as Scrappy was wheeled into the hospital. His body limp, his face pale, and his family collapsing in tears around him. Mama D's piercing cries echoed through the hospital hallways, a mother's anguish that shattered every soul who heard it. Bambi, his estranged wife, arrived moments later, her face buried in her hands, trembling with guilt and sorrow as whispers spread that she had almost refused to come. Doctors huddled together, grim and uncertain, whispering words no family ever wants to hear. Fans thought Scrappy was finally on the mend, but fate had other plans. His condition has taken a devastating turn for the worse. Machines beep, alarms blare, and doctors scramble, yet the truth about what's happening inside his body remains cloaked in chilling mystery. Social media has exploded in panic, with hashtags like #PrayForScrappy trending worldwide. But behind the hospital doors, the tension has reached an unbearable breaking point. And tonight, as this story unravels, one question burns brighter than all the rest. Is Lil Scrappy fighting for his life? Or are we already watching the tragic final act of a hip-hop legend? The night Atlanta fell silent will be remembered forever. Lil Scrappy, a man whose voice once thundered through clubs and stadiums, now lies in a cold hospital room, his life hanging by the thinnest thread. The details of how he got here are as chaotic as the man's own career, filled with betrayal, heartbreak, and the kind of twists you only see in movies. But this is not fiction. This is happening right now, and the stakes could not be higher. It started with a single phone call. Just after midnight, Mama D's phone lit up with a number she didn't recognize. On the other end was a paramedic, their voice tight with urgency. "Ma'am, this is Grady Memorial. We need you to come immediately. It's your son. It's Scrappy." The phone slipped from her hand. Neighbors say they heard her scream, a sound so guttural it sent chills racing down their spines. She didn't even bother with shoes, just bolted out the door and into her car, tearing down the street like a woman possessed. By the time she arrived at the hospital, chaos had already erupted. Scrappy had been wheeled in unconscious, his body shaking, his breathing uneven. Witnesses said he collapsed in his home minutes before, his daughter screaming as family members dialed 911 in pure panic. EMTs fought desperately to stabilize him during the ride. But even they whispered later that his condition was far worse than anyone expected. Inside the waiting room, the atmosphere was suffocating. Reporters were already swarming outside, cameras flashing, their microphones shoving into the faces of family members arriving in tears. But it was the tension between two women inside those walls that took the night from tragic to explosive. Mama D sat stiffly in a corner, her hands trembling, eyes glued to the double doors of the ICU, and then the doors opened again. Bambi walked. In 4 weeks, speculation had swirled about their estrangement. Divorce papers, public arguments, social media shade that had fans dissecting every emoji, every lyric, every cryptic post. Many wondered if she'd even show up when tragedy struck. But here she was, dressed in black sweatpants, her eyes red, her steps hesitant. When Mama D saw her, the air snapped like a lightning bolt. "Oh, so now you care," Mama D hissed, loud, enough for everyone in the room to hear. Heads turned instantly. The hospital staff froze. Bambi stopped in her tracks, her face twisting in pain. "D," she whispered, voice trembling. "This is not the time." But Mama D wasn't letting up. She rose to her feet, every inch of her shaking with fury and grief. "Don't you dare tell me when the time is. My son is in there fighting for his life, and you put him here." Gasps erupted across the room. Bambi's mouth fell open as tears welled up in her eyes. "You think I wanted this?" she snapped, her voice breaking. "Do you think I don't care? I love him. I've always loved him." The confrontation spiraled, nurses whispering nervously about calling security. But before anyone could intervene, the doors swung open again. A doctor stepped out, his face pale, sweat clinging to his brow. The room fell silent instantly. "We need to talk," he said, his voice heavy. "Lil Scrappy's condition has deteriorated." Mama D's knees buckled. She clutched the chair for balance. "What do you mean?" she demanded. The doctor sighed. Flipping through his chart, his vitals are unstable. His oxygen levels are dropping. His heart is under enormous strain. "We are doing everything we can, but right now, the outlook is grim." Bambi's sobs tore through the air. Mama D shoved past her, jabbing a finger at the doctor. No, you're supposed to fix him. That's your job. Don't you tell me, Grim. You saved my baby." The doctor tried to calm her, but his eyes said what his words didn't. Scrappy might not make it through the night. News spread like wildfire. Within minutes, TMZ, the Shade Room, and every gossip blog in America had headlines screaming Lil Scrappy rushed to ICU, family desperate for prayers. Twitter exploded. Hashtag Pray for Scrappy trending in less than an hour. Fans flooded timelines with tearful videos, frantic speculation, and clips from his glory days. But buried in the chaos came the first bombshell leak, an alleged voice note sent from a hospital staffer. The clip, shaky and muffled, spread like fire. In it, a panicked voice whispered, "He flatlined. They had to shock him." It doesn't look good. Though unverified, it sent social media into meltdown. Fans begged for confirmation while others accused insiders of exploiting a tragedy. But the damage was done. The world now believed Scrappy's life was dangling by a thread, and no one knew the truth. Back at the hospital, tensions only escalated. Mama D and Bambi were at each other's throats, emotions spilling uncontrollably. "You broke him," Mama D sobbed. "You walked away, and he was never the same. His heart gave out because you broke it." Bambi shook her head violently. "That's not fair. You don't know what I went through. Do you think I left because I didn't love him? I left because we were destroying each other." The argument grew so loud that a nurse threatened to remove them both. And just when it seemed they'd explode again, the ICU alarm blared. A shrill, piercing sound that froze every bone in the room. Doctors shouted orders. A nurse rushed out, her face pale. "We need immediate assistance. He's crashing." Mama D screamed, lunging toward the doors. Security held her back as she thrashed wildly, sobbing. "That's my baby. Let me in. You let me in." Bambi fell to the floor, clutching her chest, sobbing uncontrollably as the sounds of chaos echoed from the ICU. The beep of the heart monitor grew frantic, then flatlined. Silence for what felt like an eternity. The room was consumed by horror. The possibility that Scrappy's fight had ended became too real, too crushing to bear. Then, after minutes that felt like hours, a doctor burst through the doors. "We have a pulse," he shouted. The room erupted in relief, but the warning followed quickly. "He's stable, for now." The fight was far from over. But then came another twist. As Mama D sobbed prayers of gratitude, her phone buzzed with a message that made her blood run cold. A screenshot. A text thread allegedly between Scrappy and an unknown woman dated just days before his collapse. The words were damning. "I can't do this anymore. The stress is killing me. I feel like I'm fading." Was this health scare purely medical? Or had heartbreak pushed him to the edge? The family was torn apart, doctors scrambling, fans in chaos. And now a mysterious leak hinting that Scrappy himself knew something was dangerously wrong, and just as Mama D clutched her chest, the weight of the revelation hitting her like a freight train, the ICU doors swung open again. The doctor's face was grave, his words chilling. "You all need to prepare yourselves. It's worse than we thought." The doctor's words sliced through the waiting room like a knife. "You all need to prepare yourselves. It's worse than we thought." Silence followed. Mama D collapsed back into her chair, trembling uncontrollably, while Bambi pressed her hands to her face, gasping for breath as tears poured down her cheeks. No one moved. No one breathed. It was as if the walls themselves had frozen in time. The doctor cleared his throat, his eyes heavy with the kind of truth no one ever wants to deliver. Lil Scrappy's organs are shutting down. His body is in critical shock. "We are keeping him alive, but..." His voice trailed off, and when he finally whispered the next words, they shattered everyone. "He may not make it through the night. Get through the night." The scream Mama D let out echoed through the halls. Nurses rushed over, trying to calm her, but she shoved them away, wailing, "Don't you say that about my son! Don't you dare!" Bambi fell to her knees, sobbing into her hands. "Please, God, please, not like this," she whispered. The weight of the moment was unbearable, but just as the family began to break, a new storm erupted. Someone's phone buzzed. It was Scrappy's cousin, holding his breath as he stared at the screen. "Y'all, look at this," he muttered, his voice shaking. He turned the phone around. Leaked video, already spreading like wildfire on social media, showed Scrappy just 48 hours before the collapse. He looked exhausted, slurring his words, pacing in a dimly lit room. And then came the chilling line that sent shockwaves. "I don't know how much more I can take. If I go, just know they pushed me there." The internet exploded. Fans dissected every frame, speculating on who they were. Some pointed to the ongoing drama with Bambi. Others blamed the relentless pressures of fame, while a darker corner of Twitter whispered about industry betrayal, producers, rivals, even family. Hashtags erupted. Hashtag who pushed Scrappy. Hashtag save Scrappy. And hashtag LHH conspiracy. Every second that clip circulated, more chaos spread. Inside the hospital, the tension escalated into open warfare. Mama D turned on Bambi, her voice sharp as glass. "That's you he was talking about, don't you see? You broke him, you drained him, and now he's in there because of you." Bambi shot back, her sobs turning into fury. "Don't put this on me. Do you think being married to him was easy? Do you think watching him drown in pain, in demons, was easy? I loved him through everything, but sometimes love isn't enough." The fight drew gasps from relatives and even hospital staff. Security hovered nearby, ready to intervene. But then another voice entered, the chaos one no one expected. It was Erica Dixon, Scrappy's ex. She slipped quietly into the room, wearing dark glasses, her presence instantly igniting whispers. For years, her co-parenting battles with Scrappy and her rocky history with Bambi had been love and hip-hop's most explosive storylines. And now, here she was, walking into the eye of the storm. Mama D leapt up, wrapping her arms around Erica. "Thank God you're here," she sobbed. "At least you cared enough to come." Bambi's jaw dropped. "Oh, so you'll hug her? Really?" Now, Erica pulled off her glasses, her eyes rimmed red. "I didn't come for drama. I came for my daughter's father. Whatever's going on between all of us doesn't matter right now. He needs us." But the words only deepened the division. Mama D clung to Erica like an ally, while Bambi stood apart, seething, her grief colliding with rage. And then another blow hit. A nurse rushed out, her face pale. "We need immediate family only. There's been a complication." The family froze. "What complication?" Mama D demanded. Nurse hesitated. "There was another collapse. You revived him, but Its brain activity is slowing. The waiting room erupted in cries. Erica covered her mouth, sobbing. Bambi collapsed against the wall, sliding to the floor. Mama D screamed again, clawing at the nurse's arm. "Let me see him! Let me in now!" But before she could storm, the ICU, her phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't a leak. It was a message from an anonymous number. A single screenshot of a text conversation allegedly between Scrappy and Chaotic. The texts were brutal. In them, Scrappy allegedly accused Chaotic of betrayal, hinting that the stress of their violent confrontation had pushed him past his breaking point. "You crossed me for the last time. You'll regret this. I swear. This pressure, this rage, it's killing me." The texts were real, then Chaotic wasn't just another cast member. He was possibly at the center of Scrappy's downfall. As the leak spread, social media ignited like wildfire. Fans bombarded Chaotic's accounts, flooding him with accusations, death threats, and calls for him to own what he did. Chaotic tried to defend himself in a shaky Instagram live, insisting, "Man, I ain't have nothing to do with this. Y'all tripping. Scrappy, my brother, don't put this on me." But the comments tore him apart, accusing him of lying, of gaslighting, of hiding the truth. Back in the hospital, the walls felt like they were closing in. Mama D, shaking with rage, turned on Bambi again. "Do you see this? Do you see what this man went through? He warned us all. And now look at him. Look at him." Bambi screamed back through her tears. "We all failed him. Not just me, not just you, not just Chaotic. All of us." The arguments, the sobbing, the buzzing phones with new leaks, it all blended into chaos. And in the middle of it all, the doctor reappeared, his expression darker than before. "We need to make a decision," he said gravely. The words froze everyone. His body is shutting down. If there's someone he needs to hear from, if there's something left unsaid, now is the time. Mama D collapsed into Erica's arms. "Can't lose him, not my baby." Bambi whispered, "Please, let me in there. Please, he needs me." Erica closed her eyes, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. But just as they prepared to enter, another phone alert shattered the room. A video leaked from inside the ICU itself. Someone, a staff member perhaps, had recorded Scrappy lying unconscious, hooked up to wires and machines, his chest rising faintly. In the background, voices could be heard arguing shockingly. Voices that fans recognized. Mama D and Bambi fighting inside the very room where Scrappy lay dying. The video spread instantly, sparking outrage across the internet. Fans screamed that the family was tearing him apart in his weakest moment. Others swore the show's producers had orchestrated everything, exploiting a tragedy for ratings. And then came the chilling twist. At the very end of the clip, just before it cut out, Scrappy's lips appeared to move. Barely audible, but the whispers were there. Some swore they heard him say one word. Why? The world erupted. Why what? Why who? Was it directed at Bambi? At Chaotic? At the family? At himself? Theories spiraled, each one darker than the last dot. And in that moment, as the video reached millions, the ICU alarm blared again. Doctors screamed. Nurses rushed. The flat line echoed. And this time, there was no immediate shout of, "We have a pulse." The family froze. The world froze. Was this the end of Lil Scrappy? The flat line echoed like a death sentence. For several seconds, the room was suspended in pure horror. Mama D collapsed to the floor, screaming Scrappy's name, clawing at the air like she could drag him back to life by force. Bambi wailed, pounding her fists against the wall. Erica buried her face in her hands, whispering no, not like this. Nurses swarmed the ICU, doctors barking orders as paddles charged with electricity. "Clear," one shouted. Scrappy's body jolted violently, wires shaking as Mama D sobbed uncontrollably. The monitor beeped again, faint, weak, but a heartbeat. The relief was instant yet fragile. He was alive, but barely. The doctor rushed out, face grave. He's on life support. We revived him, but his brain activity is still unstable. If he doesn't improve within the next 24 hours, the decision may not be ours anymore. Those words cut deeper than any knife. Mama D screamed, "Don't you ever say that again," and collapsed in Erica's arms. But in the middle of this grief, chaos erupted again. Another leak. Another betrayal. A blogger posted what they claimed were audio recordings between Scrappy and an unnamed producer of Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. In the grainy clip, Scrappy's voice was unmistakable. "I can't do this anymore. Y'all setting me up? Y'all putting me in situations to explode? You know I got anger problems. You know I can't take the pressure. Y'all don't want a man, y'all want a meltdown." The internet went nuclear. Fans accused producers of orchestrating the violent clash with Chaotic to push Scrappy to his breaking point. Hashtags trended worldwide. Hashtag LHH set up. Hashtag Scrappy was targeted. Hashtag cancel the show. Inside the hospital, phones buzzed nonstop. Mama D, her grief morphing into fury, screamed at the cameras waiting outside. "They used my son like a pawn. They knew he was hurting and they broke him for views. This is blood on their hands." Bambi, however, wasn't convinced. She snapped back at Mama D. "Don't act like you didn't push him too. Every time you put him in the middle of family drama, every time you dragged me in public, you made his life harder. Don't blame producers when we failed him." Room erupted into another shouting match, nurses begging them to quiet down. Erica, usually calm, lost her composure too. She turned to Bambi with venom in her voice. "You think this is about you? He told me last week he was done with your drama. He said you drained every last bit of life out of him. The words detonated like a bomb. Bambi lunged forward, pointing in Erica's face. "Don't you dare put this on me, you bitter ex. You've been waiting for this moment, haven't you? Hoping he'd come crawling back to you." Erica shot back, "At least I was there for him when you were too busy worrying about Instagram followers." Security had to step in, pulling them apart as the family fractured in front of everyone. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, fans gathered by the hundreds, chanting "Pray for Scrappy" and holding up signs. News cameras caught every second of the chaos, broadcasting it live across the country. Then came the most shocking twist yet. Another leak surfaced. This time, a hospital insider allegedly snapped a photo of Scrappy's medical chart. Details were terrifying. Internal bleeding, collapsed lungs, possible permanent brain damage. And scrawled at the top of the report were chilling words: "Suspected foul play." Theories spun like wildfire. Some swore Chaotic's earlier altercation with Scrappy was more than just words. Whispers of a physical attack behind the scenes began spreading. Others insisted producers tampered with Scrappy's schedule, pushing him into back-to-back, filming while ignoring his health. Hey, a few even claimed someone close to him, someone he trusted, wanted him out of the picture entirely. Chaotic, facing death threats, went live again. His voice shook as he begged fans to listen. "I never laid a hand on Scrap. Never. That's my brother. If he said I hurt him, he wasn't in his right mind. I'd never." But the comments tore him apart. "Liar. You pushed him over the edge. You'll pay for this." And then, as if fate wanted to twist the knife even deeper, Scrappy's daughter posted a cryptic message on Instagram. "Y'all don't know the half? My daddy tried to tell y'all." The internet froze. What did she mean? Did she know something more? Within minutes, her post had millions of views before being mysteriously deleted. Screenshots flew across Twitter, fueling endless speculation. Back at the hospital, the doctor returned with an update no one was prepared for. We detected unusual substances in his system. We're still running tests, but this wasn't just stress. Something else is at play here. The words stunned everyone into silence. Mama D whispered, "What are you saying?" The doctor sighed. "We can't confirm yet, but it's possible Lil Scrappy was poisoned." The room exploded. Erica gasped, covering her mouth. Bambi screamed, "What? No, who would do that?" Mama D collapsed again, wailing, "They tried to kill my baby." Social media erupted within seconds. Hashtag Scrappy Poison shot to the top of trending. Fans accused rivals, exes, even fellow cast members. Fingers pointed at Chaotic, then at Bambi, then at shadowy industry enemies. Theories spiraled into madness, and in the middle of this chaos, a chilling message appeared online. An anonymous account with 0 followers posted, "He knew too much, and now he's paying the price." The account vanished minutes later. But not before screenshots spread everywhere. Inside the ICU, the machines began to beep erratically again. Doctors and nurses rushed back in. The family screamed, pounding on the glass. "What's happening?" Mama D begged. A nurse turned, her voice breaking. "He's slipping away again. They shocked him once, twice, 3 times." The flatline screamed again. Mama D dropped to her knees, screaming until her voice broke. Bambi sobbed so hard she couldn't breathe. Erica collapsed into a chair, whispering, "Please, God, not like this." And then silence. The doctors stopped. One turned slowly toward the family, his face pale, his voice heavy. I'm so sorry." The hallway erupted in shrieks, cries, and chaos. Mama D fainted. Erica nearly collapsed. Bambi clawed at the wall, screaming, "No, can't take him." But just as despair swallowed the room, a nurse ran out, holding a clipboard. "Wait, he's breathing again. It's faint, but he's not gone yet." The family gasped. Mama D screamed with joy. Erica fell to her knees in relief. Bambi sobbed, "Thank you, God." But then came the final twist. A staff member whispered something to the doctor, who froze, then looked up at the family. His words were slow, haunting. "He's alive, but unconscious. And he left us something." Before he collapsed, he wrote a note. The family stared in shock. "What note? What did it say?" Mama D demanded. The doctor held up a crumpled piece of paper, stained with sweat and ink. His voice shook as he read it aloud. "If anything happens to me, don't trust the ones closest." The betrayal came from inside. The room went silent, phased eyes darting to each other. Mama D, Bambi? Erica, Chaotic? The producers, who was he talking about? Who betrayed him? And just as fans across the world demanded answers, the feed cut. The cameras outside went dark and the hospital locked down. Lil Scrappy was alive, but the truth behind his collapse was about to rip everything apart. And there you have it, the chaos, the betrayals, the secrets too dark for TV. But this is only the beginning. Lil Scrappy's note, his warning, his collapse. It all points to something far more sinister than anyone ever imagined. Someone close to him wanted him gone. Someone within his circle holds the key to the truth. And when that truth finally explodes into the open, it won't just destroy reputations. It could end careers, end friendships, maybe even end lives. But here's the thing. The networks, the insiders, the so-called powers that be don't want you to know what's really happening. They'll spin their stories, bury the leaks, and keep feeding you their version of events. That's why we're here, to expose what they're desperate to hide. So if you've been glued to every second of this, if you felt the chills, the anger, the heartbreak, don't just sit there. Hit that like button right now, so this story spreads and can't be silenced. Drop a comment with what you think really happened. Was Scrappy set up, poisoned, betrayed? We want to hear from you, and your voice matters. And above all, subscribe this very second. because the next update is coming fast, and it's darker, deeper, and more shocking than anything you've heard tonight. If you miss it, you'll be left in the dark while everyone else uncovers the truth. Stay locked in because this story is only just beginning.